topic for today is all about equations and inequality. There are four ways of solving equations and inequalities to get the value of x. It can be solved by factoring. It is like splitting an expression, square root method, completing square, and quadratic. Here is the formula in solving each designated equation. First, factoring. Factoring the sum and difference of two cubes. In algebra class, the teacher would always discuss the topic of sum of two cubes and difference of two cubes side by side. The reason is that they are similar in structure. The K is to memorize or remember the patterns involved in the formulas. So in case 1, the polynomial in the form a cube plus b cube is called the sum of two cubes because two cubic terms are being added together. So, mo ni siyang example sa sum of two cubes. So, in case to, the polynomial in the form of difference naman, kay difference of two cubes. So, ang mahitabo in ani na siya, a cube minus b cube. The polynomial in the form a cube minus b cube is called the difference of two cubes because the cubic terms are being subtracted. So here are the formulas that summarize how to factor the sum and difference of two cubes. So case 1, nara, sum of two cubes. So mo ni siya ang formula, a cube plus b cube equals a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. Dayon, for the sum case, the binomial factor on the right side of the equation has a middle sign that is positive. In addition to the sum case, the middle sign of the trinomial factor will always be opposite the middle sign of the given problem. Therefore, it is negative. So, ano siya? Di ba kay suman siya, dapat plus, pero taas siya yun. So, the difference of two cubes, ayun lang sa difference. So, mo ang formula sa difference of two cubes. A cube minus 3b cube equals a minus b times e squared plus ab plus b squared. For the difference case, the binomial factor on the right side of the equation has a middle sign that is negative. In addition to the difference case, the middle sign of the trinomial factor will always be opposite the middle sign of the given problem. Therefore, it is positive. So, mula siya bali-bali ba? So, parihalig yapon siya. So, next is square root method. How to solve quadratic equation using the square root method? It is the best method whenever the quadratic equation only contains x squared terms. That implies no presence of any x term being raised to the first power somewhere in the equation. Case strategy in solving quadratic equation using the square root method, the general approach is to collect all x squared terms on one side of the equation while keeping the constant to the opposite side. After doing so, the next obvious step is to take the square root of the both sides to solve for the value of x. Always attach the positive and negative symbol when you get the square root of the constant. So, example of how to solve quadratic equation by square root method. So, mo siya example. X squared minus 1 equals 24. So, I will isolate the only x squared term on the left side by adding both sides by 1. So, may ano siya. Ang given na nga problem is x squared minus 1 equals 24. So, ang buhaton na to para ang atong buhaton gamit ang square root ang siran tani gamit ang square root method is, di ba ang given kay, so, ang mahitabo ana, mag-add daw og 1 sa diri na side, sa diri po na side. So, ang mahitabo, x squared minus 1 plus 1 equals 24 plus 1. So, mahimo na lang siyang x squared kay negative 1 plus 1 equals 0 naman. So, wala na value. Ato ang matangtangon. Ang 24 plus 1 equals 25 naman. So, mahimo siyang x squared equals 25. Pero, naka-indicate man siya diri nga kinahanglan nga ato siyang Kay square root method man atong gigamit. So atong square root ang x squared ug ang 25. And then ang answer is x equals positive and negative 5. Kay kinahanglan gid siya nga ibutang nimo ang positive ug negative 5 kay pwede man siya positive ang answer positive 5, pwede po siya negative 5. So, we have x equals 5 and x equals negative 5. So, mauni siya ang mga possible ang answer jud. Duha. As final answer, since both of these values satisfy the original quadratic equation, I will leave it to you to verify. So, the third way in solving equations and inequality is completing square. So far, you've either solved quadratic equations by taking the square root or by factoring. So, mo to first na to gibuhat factoring of square root method. These methods are relatively simple and efficient when applicable. Unfortunately, they are not always applicable. In this lesson, you will learn a method for solving any kind of quadratic equation. So, consider the equation x squared plus 6x equals negative 2. The square root and factoring methods are not applicable here. So, dili pwede ta magkaninga kung kaninga problem ang ihatag sa ato. Dili na to ni siya pwede gamiton sa factoring o sa square root method. Why is that so? But hope is not lost. We can use a method called completing square. Let's start with the solution and review it more closely. So, first na itong gibuhat is, diba, x squared plus 6x equals negative 2. So, ang atong gibuhat is mag-add ta og 9. Add 9 para mahimo siyang complete square. Kaya ang first nga step na atong buhaton para ma-sulbad din nga problema is ato siyang himong perfect square. Kaya ang given kay dili man siya perfect square. So, x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 7. So, pagkahuman, factor the expression on the left. So, ato siyang i-factor. Mahimo na siyang x plus 3 raised to the power of 2 equals 7. And then, take the square root. So, x plus 3, square root x plus 3 equals positive and negative 7. And then, mahimo siyang x plus 3 equals positive and negative 7. So, para x na lang ang mabiling dire, kinahanglan ta minus of 3 o minus of 3 dire para mahimong x ang mabilin. So, mahimo na siyang x equals positive and negative square root of 7 minus 3. So, in conclusion, the solution are x, mahimo siyang x equals negative square root of 7 minus 3 o pwede mo siya x equals square root of 7 minus 3. So, the fourth way in solving equations and inequalities is quadratic. How to solve quadratic equation using the quadratic formula. So, ano yung quadratic formula? A, di ba? Yung liwan na ito sa una na ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. There are times when we are stuck solving a quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 because the trinomial on the left side can't be factored out easily. It doesn't mean that the quadratic equation has no solution. At this point, we need to call upon the straightforward approach of the quadratic formula to find the solutions of the quadratic equation, or put simply, determine the values of x that can satisfy the equation. In order to use the quadratic formula, the quadratic equation that we are solving must be converted into the standard form. So, mauni siya ang standard form. Hindi siya pwede, diba, ang completing square kay kinahanglan siya, mahimo siyang perfect square. Ang mahitabo dayon sa quadratic kay kinahanglan standard form. Otherwise, all subsequent steps will not work. The goal is to transform the quadratic expression is isolated on the side of the equation while the opposite side only contains the number 0. So in this convenient format, the numerical values of a, b, and c are easily identified. Upon knowing these values, you can now substitute them into the quadratic formula, then solve for the values of x. So here is our quadratic formula. Remember the formula. ang formula sa quadratic. So, example of how to solve quadratic equation by the quadratic formula. Solve the quadratic equation below using the quadratic formula. So, naka-standard form naman siya. By inspection, it's obvious that the quadratic equation is in the standard form since the right side is just 0 while the rest of the terms stay on the left side. In other words, we have something like this. So, mauwi itong A, B, and C. So, gamitan na to siya. Ato ni siyang isolve ng problem gamit ang quadratic equation. So, mainantin siya. Kaya inani man ang formula nga ihatag. So, substitute lang dahil ato i-substitute ang B sa B, ang A sa A, ang C sa C. So, inani din naman yung tawag. Tutan ang B. 5. So, negative man. So, copy the sign and then substitute. So, 5. To the power of 2 minus 4 times A. 1 man ang A kay 1 ang value sa X kay wala man utang sign. Basta X ra, isa ra, 1 lang gina siyang value. So, ang C is negative 14. Ato lang ihapon E. So, 5 times 5.
25.
25. Minus 4. Negative 4 times 1. 4. Negative 4 man dapat ang answer. Minus 14. Over 2. Negative 4 times negative 14.
56.
So, 56. Add na yun siya. Over 2. 25 plus 56. 81. So, 81. Ang square root sa 81, diba 9? So, mahimo na siyang 9. Negative 5 plus 9 equals 4 over 2. So, mahimo na siyang 2 kay 4 divided 2 equals 2 man. Pwede siya ang answer sa x1. Sa x2 po siya, pwede siya mahimo siya negative 5 minus 9 kay, di ba, ang nadiri positive, negative man. So, ato siyang gigamit dire. Ang x1 siya, positive siya. Ang x2 is negative. So, positive 9 na itong first na gigamit. Ang answer niya is 2. And then, next is negative 9 na itong gigamit. Ang answer din na makuha na ito is 7. And so, this will be your assignment for today. And remember, make it a habit to always check the solved values of x back into the original equation to verify. So, that would be all. Goodbye, class.
Todo corriendo, eso es lo que se hace, lo que ando buscando.